Well, we could talk about burgers and who makes the best ones, but let's talk song. This video is an analysis of Good Mood by Adam Levine from the Paw Patrol movie. It's a Tiago pick. Tiago is my 3-year-old son, and he lights up every time that I play this on the piano. In this video, we are going to learn how to use cool voicings in the chord progression, how to use modulation in a very, very intelligent way, but we are also going to talk about how to get away with lazy and poor lyric writing. Have fun.
You make me dance, yeah you do. You got my heart beating rhythms when you move. Don't need no.
So without further ado, let's look at the intro. The intro is basically just 2 notes. The intro is D and F sharp with a very, very crazy rhythm. I'm going to notate the rhythm and you can see it here. And this is it, okay? So just the 2 notes together and with this crazy rhythm, bam, bam, gang, 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 gang. And then we start the verse. We are going to look at the chords of the verse first and then at the melody. The chords are really, really great chords. So what we have here is a D major over G. We could also call it a G major 7 add 9. Then we have A sus, F sharp minor 7, this is the 7, F sharp minor 7, and B minor 7, B minor 7. The harmonic rhythm is quite interesting because we anticipate every second chord. It's basically 1 chord per bar, but chords 2 and 4 are anticipated by an 8th note. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. To go from the end of the chord progression to the beginning of the chord progression, they use a transitional chord that is not as prominent as the 4 rock-solid chords of the progression, but serves as a transition from the end, which would be the B minor 7, to this G. And maybe you can already imagine what the transition is from B to G, because the bass is the transition. We go from B over A to G. So we have got 2, 3, 4. The second time around, the transitional chord changes. So we have got the same chord progression, but we have not got, but instead we have, so it's B minor 7, A with C sharpened bass this time around, and D. It sounds like this. We have to determine the key. When we look at the chords, especially at the G major and the A major chord, it's pretty clear that we are not in the key of G Ionian, although G is the first chord in the song, but we are in some form of D major, D Ionian. Now, because this G chord is so prominent throughout the whole song, I'd argue that we are in G Lydian that shares the same notes as D major, but for example, when we compare it to the last analysis, the one that I did on ceilings, the characteristic elements of the Lydian mode are not as highlighted as in this other song. So we could say that it's in D Ionian, D major, only that we start the chord progression on the 4. Chord functions would be 4, 5, 3 minor, 6 minor, which is something that we already know. It's the Bowser progression. Peach is so cool, and with my star we're gonna rule. So This is perfect proof for the fact that we can take one chord progression, one very common chord progression, and just play it in another context and making it something totally different, which is why chord progressions are not copyrightable, because they can be used in so many different contexts. So chord functions are the same as with the Bowser progression: 4, 5, 3 minor, 6 minor. If you want to know more about the dominant function of this 3 minor chord, I suggest you go watch the Bowser analysis, and I'm not going to do this here once again. The melody of the verse goes like this. What we notice instantly is that we haven't got a 1. Okay, we have got no note on the downbeat. You make me dance, yeah you do. This is the stress on the backbeat, on the 2 of the measure, and a lot in the arrangement does that highlight of the 2 of the measure as well. When we look at the melody chord relationship, we see that a lot of those additional notes, so remember there were interesting voicings like G major 7 add 9 or A sus or B minor 7, a lot of those additional notes we find in the melody as well. Let's find them. Major 7, the F sharp is the major 7 of G, then we have got land on the actual 5 of the A sus, that's okay. The 7 of the F sharp minor. What I really like is this B minor arpeggio down, F sharp, D, B, so all 3 notes of the B minor triad, which is what Adam sings over the B minor chord. When you move. And second time around, melody just repeats. Then we have got the second half of the verse. This is this when it's good, when it's bad thing. And the melody changes totally, no changes whatsoever in the chords. The melody changes like this. This is the basic motif. Then we have a variation. Then we have got motif again. And then we have got another variation. And when. And this and when is very important because we are now going to look at the chords of the transitional bridge, which are very surprising. What is that? A lot has changed. This has nothing to do with D Ionian or G Lydian. What are those chords? E, major, add 9. D, add 9, over E in bass. A, over E in bass. Back to E. Then E again, D again, and F sharp minor 7. This is really strange. Something has happened here. We see an E major chord, we see a D major chord, although with another bass note. We see an A major chord. That means we can only be in the key of A major, because A major is the only key that has got the A major, the D major, and the E major chord. And that means that modulation has happened. What is modulation? Modulation is when you leave your actual key, when you leave your actual scale and move to something completely different, which is what has happened here. Now, the modulation goes further than we think at first sight. Remember that we are in D major, perhaps G Lydian. Now here, the E major becomes the tonal center. If the E major is the tonal center in an A major then that means that we are not actually in A Ionian, but in E Mixolydian. E Mixolydian, so the 5 of the scale suddenly becomes the tonal center and adds this bluesy feel to that transitional bridge and makes it very, very interesting and very different to the verse. Now, how does it still fit? Enter the concept of pivot notes. You have to remember that we left the verse with those 2 short and then in the melody. This and then is on the melody note of B. It's actually and when. Anytime that I call you, be ready. Anytime, anytime, and when. And this and when stays in this A major triad and therefore is a pivot note. So a note that is the common element between the 2 scales, or the 2 modes in that case, that we are going to jump between. And when I turn around, and so on and so forth. The melody in the transitional bridge goes like this. So we have got a repetition of this small motif. And we develop this motif. Now we move everything up a little bit. And actually, the measure before we go into the chorus is a chordless measure because it's just a drum fill. It's this tuk-tuk-tuk-tuk-tuk-tuk. So the last chord that we actually hear is the F sharp minor 7. The F sharp minor 7 just so happens to be a pivot chord. So a chord that is element of both E Mixolydian and G Lydian or D Ionian, and that also serves as a modulation back because in the chorus we are back in the key of D major. The chorus is actually quite similar to the verse in terms of chord progression, only that it does not do the anticipation of chords 2 and 4, and it does not include those passing chords, those transitional chords. So the chord progression in the chorus sounds like this. Repeats 2 times, and the melody on top of it is of course rather different compared to the verse. So the melody goes like this. Okay, so a very important stress on this E. First rock solid note is the F, but then E, E, and F sharp, B. Those are the rock solid notes. And basically the repetition of the chord progression is also the repetition of the melody. After the chorus, chord progression stays exactly the same when we enter what I would call a post-chorus. A post-chorus is something that is also quite memorable, that also people can sing along, but has not got a very written through structure. In that case, it's the chord progression, and all we do on top of it is sing this woo-hoo and good mood, the title of the song. The 3 sections that are clearly separate from each other are the verse, the transitional bridge, and the chorus. One thing that we can look at now is where does the melody start in those 3 different sections to find if there is contrast there. Verse starts with a pickup line, but the actual stressed first melody note is the one on the 2. You make me dance. And this is basically the most prominent note in the verse. The transitional bridge starts with a very clear focus on the 3 of the bar. And when I turn around, I see you there. So here we highlight the 3 of the measure. And the chorus highlights the downbeat, highlights the 1. 'cause no one in this world can make me come down, and so on. So again, we see that starting a melody on different beats of the measure can provide contrast where needed, especially if, like in that case, verse and chorus have got rather similar chord progressions. The rest of the song, verse 2, yes, there are arrangement decisions like resting a complete bar or highlighting melody notes, but apart from that, offers no real development or new harmonic melodic ideas. Verse 2, transitional bridge number 2, chorus 2, post-chorus 2, and then we enter what I would call a very, very prolonged outro. Listen to the song, listen to my cover of the song, to just listen to the chord progression, repeat over and over. There are ad-libs, there are melody variations, there are post-chorus elements like this woo-woo, good mood, and so on, and nothing very new happens. So we keep this good vibe, this good mood, this positive atmosphere, and we try to play it forever until at the end of the song it's just good mood on the one of the new chord progression, but we don't play another chord. So the end of the song is like this. Good mood. So the one just is empty, there is no chord, and all we hear is this individual voice singing this mood at the end. In terms of chords and melody, we have covered everything there is to be said. Let's now go to the lyrics. Verse number 1. You make me dance, yeah you do, you got my heart beating rhythms when you move. Don't need no plans, feeling loose, like there's a rainbow of magic next to you. It's a children's movie, and it's okay to use cliche words, but rainbow of magic is too much, I think. When we look at the structure, we can see that we have got 2 short lines and 1 long line. You make me dance, short line number 1. Yeah, you do, short line number 2. You got my heart beating rhythms when you move. If you ask me, this is A, B, B. You make me dance, A. Yeah, you do. You got my heart beating rhythms when you move. Why not X, B, B? Because A will come up in the second half of the verse. Don't need no plans, rhymes with dance. Feeling loose, like there's a rainbow of magic next to you. So we have got A, B, B, A, B, B. 6-line verse, rather unusual, but of course with those 2 very short lines, it makes sense. What I really like about verse number 1 is this tiny bit of prosody when we look at the words when you move. It's you make me dance, yeah you do. You got my heart beating rhythms when you move. And those when you move notes are all off beat. They are all syncopated, so they are not on the heartbeat. They beat rhythms, okay? They make the heartbeat funny. Listen to it. You make me dance, yeah you do. You got my heart beating rhythms when you move. Okay, so all those when you move notes are offbeat and make a lot of sense when we think about a heart behaving funnily. Verse B, the one that changes the melody completely, is when it's good, when it's bad, yeah you got me. Not alone in this town, 'cause you make me feel. Anytime that I call, you'll be ready. Anytime, anytime. Whoever wrote those lines, I don't know if it was Adam Levine or one of the many co-writers credited in the song as well, did a little bit of lazy rhyming here. When it's good, when it's bad, yeah you got me. A. Not alone in this town, 'cause you make me feel. X. Anytime that I call, you'll be ready. Got me, ready. Very poorly rhymed A. And anytime leaves the pattern. So we have got AX, AX. It's not a masterclass in lyric writing, I can tell you this. So we can see that the focus was on the harmony and on the interesting modulation, on the interesting voicings, but the lyrics, they are not really strong. Enter the transitional bridge. And when I turn around, I see you there, you got a way to make a problem disappear. A, B, B, something that we know from the first verse half. Up to the clouds, I'm spinning round, and now you know why. A, B, B, C, C, X. I can't really spot a pattern. It's a very strange arrangement of rhyme words. What I like is the prosody in the words up to the clouds I'm spinning round, because it's the build up to the chorus. The music behind it is this. Up to the clouds, I'm spinning round, and now you know why. Now, I'm spinning round and up to the clouds is prosody at its best. Very nice, especially because the topic of clouds, the theme of clouds, is taken from the movie, where a cloud swallowing machine goes awry and does whatever it pleases. So it's actually a quite nice wink to the movie and to the content, and it's a very nice example for prosody, adding this melisma, so several notes for one syllable, when we look at the words up to the clouds, I'm spinning round. Okay, so the melisma is many notes on those round, on this round word. And now you know why. And then it's chorus. 'Cause no one in this world can make me feel loved in the way that you do now. No one in this world can make me come down when I'm in such a good mood now. 'Cause no one in this world can make me feel loved, X, in the way that you do now, poor A. No one in this world can make me come down, X, when I'm in such a good mood now, poor A. So again, it's very lazy rhyming. Yes, no one in this world is an element that reappears, but it's for the beginnings of the lines, not so much for the endings of the lines. The endings, they are not connected to each other very well. The end of the chorus mentions the title of the song, Good Mood, for the first time, and then the post-chorus, of course, rides on that good mood and says, woohoo, good mood. And then we go into verse number 2. Verse number 2 is, hop in my ride, don't you know, we got the sun always shining wherever we go, don't need no map, we just roll, let the vibe give direction, take control. I dare assume that the writing process of the lyrics was finished after roughly 10 to 15 minutes. They just took the first thing that came to their minds. Hop in my ride, X, don't you know, we got the sun always shining wherever we go, XBB. Don't need no map, X, we just roll, let the vibe give direction, take control. XBB, XBB. So they didn't even go back to this ABB rhyming pattern from verse number 1 because they didn't have the patience to find a rhyming word for ride. It's not the strong suit of the song, the lyrics, let's face it. What I do like, what is prosody that is prosody level 1 basically, when they say don't need no map, we just roll. This calls for improvisation in the melody, or at least leaving the conventional melody pattern. Let's find out how that sounds. Happy my ride, don't you know? So this was the original motif. We got the sun always shining wherever we go. Don't need no map, we just roll. Let the vibe give direction, take control. So we just roll, we don't need a map, we don't need a plan, and that's why we take liberties in the melody. Level 1 prosody. This is not genius lyric writing. It's prosody for beginners. Second half of verse 2 is just a copy-paste repetition of verse 1. Transitional bridge is just a copy-paste repetition of transitional bridge number 1. Chorus number 2 is just a copy-paste. You can do that with choruses. No worry about that. Chorus 2 is just the same. And then we enter this 1.5 minute outro. Post-chorus outro thingy. It is a really, really sweet song. It has got surprising elements, especially in terms of chords, especially in terms of modulation, but it's a very simple song. It's not a song that has any genius elements to be spotted in the lyrics or in the structure. I guess this is it. As always, if you like this, please make sure to like the video, to subscribe to my channel, to hit the bell to get notified when a new video comes out, to leave comments saying how much you liked or hated it, and to suggest new videos in the comments as well. It's great fun doing those videos. It's even greater fun getting response, so please make sure to spread the word and to make this worth my while. I guess we've talked song, you can now talk about burgers and who makes the best ones.
You make me dance, yeah you do. You got my heart beating.